This is the Coming Home Podcast with John Allen. And welcome, everybody, to this edition of Coming Home with John Allen. Whether you're listening to me on a podcast platform, watching me on YouTube, or listening to me on my radio program, I'm here for you, bringing you good conversation. I hope it lifts you up and carries you throughout your day, your week, your year, your life. I'm here in service of you. And today, my guest is John Sylte. Hello, my friend.
Hello. Thank you.
You know,
nice to be here.
Yeah, it's nice to have you here. We had some technical difficulties. We should have done this a little over a week ago. It didn't work, but here we are now. It was meant to be now. It wasn't meant to be before.
Meant to be now, yeah. Perfect.
I just want to jump right into it. You are a priest.
Yeah.
You are a practitioner of Krav Maga.
Yeah, I've owned my own club for 11 years.
And I think that's a heck of a combination. Now,
yeah, a lot of people say that, but you know.
Well, it's like you can hurt people, possibly take their life, but you'll pray them in the right direction.
Yeah, you know, you probably read about the Middle Ages, right? So
there you go.
It's not so off.
Now, I have to say this. I think I've told you this before, but I want my listeners to understand my perspective. I've always respected you. We used to work together at another place like 10, 15 years ago. Like, I think it was within the first year of me coming to Norway. I was very new in this country, and I used to work at a place where you worked, and I always respected you back then. You had this calmness about you.
Thank you.
You had a kindness, and we used to have some discussions about different social issues, a little bit about religion, and about different social issues, and you just seemed to be the kind of guy who really cares. You have a very practical approach to things, and you have a big heart.
Well, thank you.
So when I found out, now I believe at that time you were studying theology, and then I found out, I believe it was some sort of media, I can't remember if it was a television thing or maybe something I saw in a newspaper, but you were involved in something and the media got a hold of it, and I'm like, okay, he's finished with his theology education, and now he's a priest. And then through the years, I've just kind of followed you. Every once in a while, you'll show up in the media. You put a lot of interesting things from time to time online on your social media presence. Can you just talk to me about what drew you, what pulled you into studying theology and becoming a priest?
It's a little bit. I never grew up in a Christian home or
Really? Now that surprises me right off the bat.
Yeah. My mother, she's a Christian, but we never talked much about it in my youth when I grew up. So it was an experience I had when I was 18 years old. I was I was the one that cursed the most, and I was interested in boxing and powerlifting, and was that type of guy. You know,
yeah.
I had a good upbringing, and I was a respectful young man, but I was a little bit wannabe tough guy. You know. Yeah. So I had this experience when I was 18 years old. I had a bad time in my life, and I felt that there was something more. So I got very curious about finding out, well, what was this thing that hit me so hard? Because it was an experience I had one night, and the day after I couldn't even tell my mother about it. I was just crying, so I had to write it in a Post-it.
Tell me about that experience. What was it that happened?
I was I don't know what you can call it, kind of depressed, or I was having trouble sleeping and just couldn't find my direction in life.
You just felt lost.
I was very lost for weeks, and one night I was just I was not shouting, but I was asking out loud, why me? Why this shit? And and I had this feeling, a kind of a voice that just talked in my head, or it felt like it was outside my head, or it everywhere.
A new and unique experience for you.
Or yeah, and that voice told me that everything is going to be fine, and it was not the words, but it was the feeling afterwards. You know, it was this calmness in my whole system, and I cried like a baby, and I fell asleep, and I had trouble falling asleep. So it was, the reaction was instant, you know, it was just, and it was like it was written inside my head that this was something much bigger, that, yeah. So,
that's very interesting. I would, let me say this. Here in Norway, I was raised Christian. I was raised in the church, back home in the United States. And that's never been anything that I've been ashamed of saying. But here in Norway, it seems quite common that if a person puts words on their Christianity or on their faith, whether it's Christianity or Buddhism or Islam, but especially Christianity, immediately you get a less than positive reaction from people. That seems to be rather common here in Norway. So the description the story that you're putting out here right now, to me, it describes a moment, it describes a spiritual experience, correct? Yeah. So when you share that story with people, you know, I hear you say this, and I was raised in Christianity. And I think it's just a beautiful little story. Just a little bit that you've told sounds beautiful to me. But I would imagine you don't get that reaction from a lot of Norwegians. Talk about that reaction.
You know, about this experience, I don't tell everybody this experience, because I know
you are now.
Yeah, now I do. But you know, now I'm 43 years old, and I don't. Yeah, it's not so important to me what people think of me. And
well, maturity gives a little bit more self-assuredness, more self-security, and those negative responses are probably going to bounce off of you. But you have had those negative responses, right?
Not quite negative, but it's like people, of course, don't understand. If you haven't had that experience yourself, you don't understand what this is. And of course, in retrospect, like for me also, it's the questions coming. You know, was I awake too long? Did my brain just went off? But you know, for me, I don't care about what other people think about it, because it was my experience, and that experience changed my life. No matter what it was, it just changed my life, because after that day, things turned out okay. You know, it went that way.
See, and that's what I find so interesting about the way some people respond to other people's religious beliefs or experience. I get it that it's not for everyone. I get it that not everyone sees the significance of it. But what I don't understand is when people are so quick to delegitimize others' experiences. You know, I make a very distinct point to not point fingers at people who are not spiritual. That's not for me to do. That's that individual's choice. And if through my life's example, they choose to become more spiritual or ask questions about it, well then, you know, great, mission accomplished. But I won't go around pointing at those who are not spiritual. But it seems to be it's a good thing to do. It's an accepted thing to do, that people will make fun of Christians. They will laugh at their spirituality. They'll call stories like yours fantasy or delusion.
Yeah, of course, and I can understand that, because
I can too. Yeah,
it sounds like crazy talk. Of course,
yeah, it's not
I can
a
hear
normal.
it.
Yeah, it's not normal. It's not something everyone talks around the coffee machine at work. That's not
absolutely. And my work, I can, but but it's like. But it changed me. I was something happened that I can't explain, because if it was my voice, I use this voice all over the place. Like, come on, you can do this, and push through, and So I'm used to hearing my voice. This was something else, and it hit me so hard that I couldn't tell my own mother the day after.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, so I had to write it in a post-it note. This.
You had to let it sink in. Could it possibly be that you didn't recognize it for what it was, so you had to kind of work it into your brain and analyze it a little bit?
No, I think the thing was I knew what it was, because I wrote on that note, that post-it, what you call it?
Post-it note, yeah.
Yeah, post-it note. That I talk to God, So I just, my brain just, this is something much bigger than me.
I just got chills down my arms, because when you say that you wrote it down, that you spoke to God, my son, who passed away 2 years ago, November 5th, 2 years ago, passed away from a heroin overdose. And the second to last time he got high, I was talking with him on the phone, and he said, this addiction can't be all bad, because now, this last time I got high, I actually spoke to God. He said that to me.
I got the chills now.
Yeah, and it's, you can't, again, a lot of people will hear people say that, and they just throw that away as some sort of fantasy or some sort of delusion. But I believe that people can speak to God. I believe that people do speak to God. Now, it would be delusional if I were to say that when I speak to God, he's sitting at my dinner table, I can see him, and I'm talking to him. It's not that. It's not that kind of conversation. Now, let's say that I'm a skeptic, and I say to you, John Sylte, I don't believe you. Explain to me how you spoke with God. What would you say to me? What would you say to me if I was a skeptic and I presented that question to you?
First of all, I would just want to say one thing, and I'm very sorry for your loss, John.
Thank you, brother.
That's the first thing.
Thank you, brother.
What I would say, it's like I can understand that. I get it. We have a lot of youth in my church, and I'm their minister, and we talk about this all the time. Like, I believe in God, and some of them don't. They come like they just want to know more about this thing.
They're curious.
Yeah, what does Christians believe in, and stuff. And I try to explain for them, and some make sense, and some doesn't make sense, because I think God is not. I can't explain what happened to me, right? I can't explain who it was. It's just like my brain was just connecting with something bigger than me.
Yes.
So I immediately felt like this is either God or something that is very close to God. So I would just, and the way I think, the best way to show them is how this changed me. Like, I'm now using my life to serve this voice.
And you're doing it so well, and we're going to get into that. You're doing that service in such a beautiful way. We'll talk about that. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. But I was supposed to be a policeman. That was my.
That's right. I remember. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. In fact, that was our first, one of our first conversations, as I remember, because I was, brand new in Norway, and less than a year before that, I had been a police officer in the Chicago area. So we started.
The big police officer from Chicago.
Right. That's right. So we started talking about law enforcement. I remember that now.
Yeah. So that was supposed to be my path. I was supposed to be a police officer, and but
you knew when you had this revelation, you were 18 years old. You have this revelation. You knew right then what you.
I didn't knew right then that I was going to be a minister, and the strange thing, and one thing that maybe can explain how profoundly this changed me for people is like, if you had asked me the day before I had this experience, you're going to be a minister in the Church of Norway, I would have laughed my ass off. I would have laughed so hard because that was so far away from.
So your path was not obvious at that time.
No.
But the door was opened. The door was opened.
Yeah, but it was very, very obvious that I was not supposed to be a priest or a minister in the Church of Norway. That we can have ruled that out. Yeah.
Well, do you call yourself a minister or a priest?
I don't know.
It's so different than what we have in America.
Yeah. So some, I think I'm a Protestant, like Lutheran. So I think reverend or minister.
Reverend or minister. Yeah.
Yeah. Like priest. I have some Catholic friends, and they say no priest.
No priest.
Catholic.
Yeah.
So, okay. Whoa. It's okay.
Well, I'll try and remember to use the term minister or reverend. But I'll call you brother. I'll call you brother. That fits.
Yeah, brother. That's okay.
That fits. Not father. Yeah. That's Catholic. Not father. I'll call you brother.
Yeah.
So you have this as they would say in Norway, an åpenbaring, or a revelation, or something was revealed to you at that time, and although it didn't become obvious that you were going to be the man that you are today, it did open a new reality for you, and it did push you in that direction. So at what time then did you decide to study theology?
I think when I was 19, 20, the first thing I did was just go to what we call a folkehøgskole in Norway.
Like a junior college, I guess that would be in America.
Yeah, like something. It's a school, but it's kind of a resting area. You can find yourself, and little breathing space to breathe, and find yourself. So I did that, and that was a Christian school, and I was trying to find myself. Just what is this, and what impact has it done with my life? And after that, I soon found out that this was a little bit too interesting. So I was supposed to study 1 year.
Too interesting. I love it.
A little bit too interesting to just let it go.
Yeah,
so I just studied theology or Christendom 1 year on the university before I was supposed to be a police officer and go that way. Yeah. And it just got too exciting, and I was.
What was it that was exciting for you?
It was a little bit, I connected with something bigger, something I just haven't thought about, like roots and. This old roots, and it explained. I can what you my English.
No, you're doing fine.
I can. Yeah, I just the voice was familiar in my studies. If you understand, I can relate to.
Could it be, and I don't know if this is a good thing, but very often you'll see psychiatrists and psychologists, they will actually study that because they have issues about themselves that they're trying to understand.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's the way it is very often. Could it be a similar thing? You had this...
Absolutely.
There you go.
I try to find out what was this thing that hit me so hard. Could it be, the big?
I wonder if people, I'm a student of the state of affairs in the world and in society, and I think a lot of people seem so unhappy, so dissatisfied, and so frustrated, and I wonder how often it is that people have meaningful experiences in their life, but because it's so big, it's so different, they actively choose to not study it and figure that out, and thereby potentially lead themselves down a better path. And because they don't do that, they remain frustrated, they remain angry. but you had this experience and you actively sought answers to that experience by studying theology. Am I right?
Yeah, it was, and I think,
I think you're a better, I didn't know you when you were 18, 19 years old, but I can assume that you're probably a better, more happy and balanced man because you were and probably still are looking to fill in the answers.
Yeah, it definitely got me. It definitely got me in a direction. And as long as you got a plan and a direction, a lot of chaos just went away already there. I think having a purpose and having a path to walk on, that made some, of course, big changes for me. But it's not like. I don't want people to misunderstand, like, he heard his voice and everything was just completely perfect in his life from that day off. Life is rough and life hits you in the face a lot of times. Of course, you can roll with it, and some hits just hit you, and that's life.
But it's the summary. It's the sum of all of those hits to the face, of all of those challenges that can either break us and wear us down, or it can teach us and make us stronger. I'm the kind of person, I try to keep the mindset that I actually enjoy a challenge. I want more challenges. Because that process of solving the puzzle, even if I don't solve the puzzle, the process of trying to solve the puzzle or find the solution or find the meaning, it will make a person stronger. And I try not to let that be a selfish thought, because I believe that the stronger I get, yes, that's good for me, but it also makes me a better husband, father, and friend.
Yeah.
And you have, whenever anyone thinks of a reverend or a priest or a minister, they think of a humble person. Now, they do. Yeah. Someone who is in service, service is in the forefront of what you do. Have you ever had any moments of confusion? Because you've had a little bit of media attention. Have there ever been any moments that have tested your faith or your resolve or your mindset of service because of the media attention that you get?
I don't. That's a good question, because I'm
a good podcast host.
Yeah, of course, yeah. No, it's like I have thought about it, because if you get this self-centered figure, like look at me.
Yeah, look at me. I'm on TV again. I'm in the media again.
Yeah, I did it again,
Yeah,
but I try to. But the thing is, I have always I try to be myself, and that's my. And a lot of those interests I have is the thing that people like you responded in the beginning, like, wow, that was quite a combination.
Yeah.
But it's just me. I'm not practicing martial arts or Krav Maga and do powerlifting and stuff just to get more views. I like it. It's my lifestyle. I've been boxing since I was 14 years old, and before that I lifted weights. Just because I just liked it. Had this self-made bench in my basement, and I used Coca-Cola bottles as weights.
I love it. Yeah.
Old school. I started off
whatever it takes,
whatever it takes. So it just and people, and I was going on a completely different path, and the experience I had just pushed me in another direction. But I still had to be me. I can't be another person.
No.
And I try to do my best to help people and try to. I'm like you said. I just like the practical approach.
Yeah.
If God is love, the people who work for God should reflect that. And if they don't, maybe they have misunderstood God, or Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, I'm going to cut out that section and make a clip out of that and post it, because I think that right there is a message that many people are starting to forget. If God is love, if spirituality, religion, and God is love, then we have to love.
Yeah.
If we're not doing that, then we need to stop claiming to be spiritual or religious or Christian or Muslim or whatever it is.
Yeah. Everybody who's read the New Testament, you can see that's a direct command from God. Love your neighbor.
Yeah.
And you know, like St. Paul says, if I can move mountains with my faith and I don't have love, I'm nothing, you know.
Yeah.
And that's strong words.
That's very strong words. It's so direct.
And love is bigger than even hope, you know.
And that's
faith.
True. And that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I say it in every marriage I have, you know, just like, we read that text, 1 Corinthians 13, you know.
I think I'm going to come out to Molde and you can marry my wife and I again, just so I can hear that.
I hear that, you use that in the United States, like you're renewing your vows or something.
Renewing
like
the vows,
yeah.
No, we were so lucky. Actually, it was chaos that kind of made us have to have 2 weddings. We were married here in Norway, in Lillehammer, but none of my family could get free from work, or a couple people could, but like my mother couldn't take free from work. So we figured, okay, let's just do a Norwegian wedding here, and that was in April, and then in September we had another wedding back home in the States.
Yeah.
So and now we've been married 20 years, and we're thinking already that at our 25th anniversary we're going to do it again. Have another wedding here in Norway and another wedding in the United States. So I'm going to look you up in about 4 years. I'll be and you have to remember to use that line in our vows. Yeah,
I'll be here. Yes,
I love it. You'll be there. Let me ask you this, Jon. How important, or can you talk about the concept of being evangelical in religion, in Christianity? Getting the message out there. Because that's another issue that a lot of people who kind of have a stiff arm approach to Christianity, they find a lot to dislike with the evangelical aspects of Christianity. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I can relate to that actually, because
I'm sure.
I feel the same. So I understand people, because, like we talked about a little bit earlier here, it's like when people dislike you or your story as a Christian or your faith, I think they dislike idea of a Christian. And where do they get that idea from? What type of person do you play in your head when you hear Christian?
Yeah.
Do you see Friends of Assisi, or Mother Teresa, or someone who just devote their life to help, to make a change? Do you see Martin Luther King? Who do you see? They do not see those persons.
No,
because then we wouldn't have that problem.
Exactly.
They see this hypocrite, I think, and I see this. It's like a machine gun. Evangelicals who just fire Jesus and hope they hit somebody,
and maybe in the process they're hoping they make a little money.
Of course, and they see this
these mega church types.
You see that more in you see it in Norway as well, but you see it a lot of those mega churches in United States and stuff like that, and people driving Cadillacs because. They follow Jesus
in the name of Jesus.
So I cannot. I can understand that people. I think that anger is healthy because they expect more from a Christian. They expect that you as a minister or you as a pastor or you shouldn't behave that way, and they get mad, and that's their right. I think.
That's interesting that you say that can be a good thing, but yeah, you're right. It can be a good thing. It can keep the clergy, if you will, honest.
Yeah. Because,
but does it? Because I see people like Joel Osteen. He bought that stadium in Houston. I think it seats like 70,000 people, and he fills it up twice a week on Sundays and Wednesdays. He fills it up. He's making his money. Mm-hmm. And there's very little, I've never studied the man and the work that he does, but there's very little obvious evidence that money is going to good causes. I guess I'm saying there's nothing wrong with raising money in the name of God, but if it's not being used for God's work, it's not being raised in the name of God. It's being raised in the name of Joel Osteen or whoever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the...
So my thing is, these people who are very skeptical and people who point out the hypocrisy that some so-called religious leaders have, it doesn't seem to be working because they're not changing. They're not stopping. They're still being those same hyprocrites.
I think because they are, as we...
I'm going to get sued by Joel Osteen now.
He's going to come after you now. I think it's like we are humans, Our pastor is only a human. It's nothing more than that.
That's true.
And I think many people think that he's more closer to God or something like that, but I don't think so. I think.
But doesn't the Catholic and neither you nor I are Catholic, but is the Catholic faith putting something out there that kind of muddies the waters or makes things difficult for non-Catholic priests, reverends, ministers, because they profess the Pope to be, God's man here on earth, that he does have a closer connection to God than anyone else. And a lot of people will look at that and say, well, how can that be? He's just a man.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Makes
things difficult.
I have a lot of respect for my Catholic friends.
Yeah, and so do I. And let me say, I'm not.
No, I understand.
I'm just pointing out something that's out there in society. This is what people say about the Catholic faith, and in particular about the Pope.
Yeah. I have no problem. I don't see the Pope as it's not closer to God than others are. But me as a minister in church, when I say things on behalf of God, like the liturgy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when I'm facing my congregation, and I'm the person that delivers these words.
You're the conduit.
For God.
You're the conduit.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. It's very very unprofessional. Let me just turn this off. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Perfect.
I just got done saying I was a good podcast host, and I guess I'm not when I don't turn off the ringer on my phone. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just I remembered to turn my off, so I'm happy
you're good. You're a good guest. You're a good guest.
should have been me. Yeah. So no, it's just I see like Pope Francis, like he's a leader. He's the highest ranked leader in the Catholic Church, and I view him as a good man, and he does some good works and good thinking. And he's the successor after Peter. So Saint Peter. So I think. It doesn't bother me,
No, it doesn't bother me either. I get my point was that a lot of people will latch on to that specific thing about the Catholic faith. That they can't get behind this idea of the Pope being that close to God, more so than any other person walking the street. No, I have no problem with the Catholic faith. I'm not Catholic, but I don't have a problem with them or their beliefs. But I think that also kind of ties back into this idea of being an evangelical and how people can turn that into a negative thing when you have, as you say, the evangelical who kind of machine guns Christianity.
Yeah, just fire away.
Just fire away and aim for the head, make people swallow it. And, that's gross. No, but it makes things somewhat of an uphill battle for people who are trying to do the good work. It makes it more of an uphill battle. But then we should be prepared for that. Again, we're men who enjoy the challenge. Am I right?
Yeah. Yes, I do. But of course, it's the worst thing for me, like because I don't feel like that kind of person. I'm not a machine gun minister, and I want to connect with people. And I think my view on God is that he loves my atheist friends, even though they don't know him or want to know him or love him. He loves because God is love, and I think he got their back, even though they don't understand that or want to know that. So we can have a lot of the aggression against religious people. I can understand, but it can also spin out of context. Like if you're a Christian, you're a bad person. No, you can't say that. It's like
just like I can't say. I'm sorry to interrupt, but like I can't say that an atheist or a non-believer is a bad person.
No, you can't.
I have a lot of friends, close friends, who I love dearly, who don't have a spiritual bone in their body.
Yeah.
So
but still good persons, and more loving than a lot of Christians,
Actually.
So I don't like to judge people, and I don't like to be judged myself. But it's like
I judge you. You're a good guy. How about that?
What?
I said I judge you. You're a good guy.
Thank you. That's a good judgment.
That's
good judgment. No, it's. I think they get angry at the idea, idea of a Christian, and they see the worst. So I think in my task and a lot of my Christian friends' tasks is to make they change their minds about the Christians, and you have to do that about being a good person and show them what the Bible is all about, and love thy neighbor. Well, what does that mean?
And isn't it such an easy and non-offensive thing to do? Just as a Christian, just live a good life and be that example.
Of course, I think a lot of Christians, it's a kind of love, when they want to they want people to believe in Christianity because they think that if you don't believe, you go to hell. It's a kind of a love that you have to listen to me. This is your last chance. I can't just.
It's an ultimatum.
I can't let you go to hell. So you have to understand that this is important. And but I think the person who gets this message don't see it that way. And
they look at it as an attack, maybe. They look at it as a judgment that you're a horrible person living a horrible life and you better straighten up. You better fix this.
Absolutely. And
that's not
I'm the good person that's going to tell you that you're in trouble.
Yeah. And how can we expect a good response when it's presented to people or when people perceive the presentation in that way? We can't expect there to be a good dialogue.
Nope.
And Christianity or the spreading or the example of Christianity should involve a very healthy dialogue. And that's not a healthy dialogue when it's being presented to people in that way.
Oh. And of course, it's so it's like my point is it's not a bad behavior or it's not to be a mean person. Christians say these things. I think it's just my view is a little bit. I think Jesus died for us, and I think he died for all of us. I think what he did on the cross just changed the whole game, I think. And in my personal faith, I can't believe that God is totally dependent on people to save other people. Because Christians can act stupid, they can say stupid things and they can really turn people off. They just, you're a mean, stupid person. I do not want to believe in the same thing that you do. right? And I think that Christianity is just madman's talk, because they met a Christian that just couldn't behave.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and if that's God's plan, that He just puts stupid people to tell people, or else they burn for eternity. I don't believe that. I believe that God, He is,
It's so good to hear you say that, because again, a lot of people have this perception that all Christians are judgmental. All Christians believe in this angry God who wants to burn those who don't believe in Him. It's again, back to this whole thing called dialogue. The fact that you and I are talking about this, not only will it reinforce certain things that you and I both believe in, but it may also, and I'm not saying we're so good that we're going to convert people, but maybe some people will hear this conversation and look at spirituality, Christianity in particular, in a different way because of the way you and I are talking about it right now.
Yeah, I think everybody has met God, in my view, and in St. John, in his first letter, he's the one that says that everybody who loves dwells with God, and God dwells in them, he says. So if you're supposed to analyze that sentence, what does that mean? If you love somebody and you felt the love, then you have felt God. Yeah. Like, it's not my words, it's another John, St. John. And then he said the people who haven't love, they don't know God, because God is love, he says. So I think if you want to, it's hard for me to analyze that text and don't, what you call, my conclusion is that everybody has met God, but they call it something else.
Well, and that kind of goes to the thing where I since 9/11, but even before 9/11, but since 9/11, every time there's another terrorist action that involves people from the Middle East, there's this upsurge in bad mouthing Islam.
Yeah.
And I'll hear Christians, bad mouthing the phrase Allahu Akbar, which the direct translation is God is powerful, or God is present. And you as a Christian, don't you believe that? Don't you believe that God is powerful and God is present? So if that's the case, then why do you interpret, just because it's being said in a Muslim or in a Middle Eastern dialect, in a different language, why do you then look bad upon that phrase?
Yeah.
It's very interesting. And it comes down to that judgmental aspect that we find in, not just in Christianity, but in spirituality in general. Sometimes the deepest believers, meaning well, but they fall into this pit of judgment of others who don't believe exactly what they believe.
Yeah. I think it's, for me, I'm more interested in cleaning my own path, and I think a lot of Christians should
be the example. They should be the example.
Yeah,
you don't
take
have
a closer look.
Yes, and that involves not saying so much. It involves living right, and then you'll be able to say things because the conversation will come to you. People who live a good life, people who are good through their very soul, attract conversation, they attract dialogue, they attract people. And there's the opportunity for a more gentle, a kinder, gentler, more easy to swallow evangelical process.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
All right?
I think you're right. Yeah.
So, I came to that conclusion with no study of theology, Jon. So, not that you wasted money and years on your education, but
I could have asked you.
You could have just asked me. Hey, man, we were talking 20 years ago. You could have asked me that.
Could have saved me a lot of time and money.
Oh, man. Let me ask you something now, just to shift gears a little bit. This other aspect of your life that has to do with physical fitness, martial arts. When did all of that start and why?
It starts when I was, I think, 14 years old. I started boxing. I just liked a little bit, started a little bit like this tough guy. I want to be a tougher youth thing.
Yeah.
But then I just fell in love with the sport, and it's like a chess game for me.
Yes, it is. It's very much a thinking man's action. Yeah.
It's a lot of thinking, and every action, you have to counter that. You have to come with a reaction, or you have a defense. If you don't have it, checkmate. And it hurts a lot more than in chess. So I just fell in love with the game, and I've just kept on.
So you started with boxing, and if I remember right, maybe I'm wrong, but when you and I first met, that was when you were first getting into Krav Maga.
Yeah. That was I started in 2001, so that was
right. I was here in 2002. Yeah.
So
time flies.
Time flies.
Oh,
it's scary. But as long as we have a nice haircut,
hey,
it's gonna be good.
Hey, but I had hair back then. I don't think you did.
No.
Yeah, but I did.
So I'm a little bit. Since I was 10 years old.
I'm a couple steps behind you there. No. So, but why Krav Maga? Because it always has this air of mystery around it, but it really had this air of mystery back then here in Norway. There weren't a lot of people who knew what that was. How did you find that?
I think I just stumbled into it because I was just moving to Oslo.
Pre-YouTube, so you couldn't have seen
pre-YouTube,
it online.
yeah. So I just stumbled upon it. I was looking for a boxing club, and I just Krav Maga, what is that? And okay, that sounds interesting, and I think it's the whole tool package that boxing is just hands, but the Krav Maga had a little bit of everything,
little grappling, a little boxing, little judo,
everything.
Yeah.
So maybe if MMA was a little bit more known back then, maybe that would be my path. But I went into Krav Maga, and
And you own your own gym? Is that?
Yeah, I did. I've stepped a little bit out of it now the last 2 years, but other people have taken over, and
Are you still in ownership?
Yeah,
okay.
Still in ownership, but I'm not active instructor anymore.
What's the name of the gym? Put it out there. Let's let people know where it is.
It's Krav Maga Vestnes.
Vestnes.
Yeah.
That's up in Molde. Am I right? Yeah.
You have to take the ferry over the fjord. There are a lot of fjords here.
A lot of fjords there. I was my wife that first summer when I was here in Norway, and I think I talked with you about this when I met you. She took me on a trip all over Norway, like from Trondheim and south.
Yeah.
And I remember going out to Molde, and it fascinated me how it was kind of isolated. You had to take a ferry or go over a bridge. It was like a real island atmosphere, real isolated, but just beautiful.
Yeah.
Just such a beautiful place, man. So that's why I recognize where your gym is, because I've actually been there. So,
yes. Yeah. It's a nice place. A lot of nature and mountains.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So at this gym, did you work as any kind of an instructor, or were you just in the ownership in the? I
was an instructor for 11 years. So I was a sole instructor for. But then I got a little bit more help, like some the beginners. They were instructing the beginners, and I was instructing the more advanced students.
Oh, interesting.
So but it's on the countryside, and Krav Maga is not that known. I think if you practice karate or boxing or something like that, people know it.
Yes,
it's a little bit easier, and because of the brutality of the system, you have to have age limits.
Yeah.
You can't have. They have Krav Maga kids, and that's more playing.
Kind of watered down when it comes to technique and whatnot.
Yeah, and it's like stay safe and be aware of your surroundings and a lot of games.
Did you find it challenging to start a gym out in the countryside like that? I can identify with that. At one time, I owned 3 gyms up in northern Norway, and there were some challenges, but it also gave me a sense of freedom. I can do what I want. I don't have to follow what the chain gyms are doing. I can do my own thing because there was no competition. How did you experience that when it came to the challenges?
I was instructor for Krav Maga Global, and so they have this curriculum. So I had to. Okay. So that's the same in every club. So we were training the same that they do in Oslo.
There's a curriculum,
Yeah. So they have to earn their patches. We don't have belts; we have patches.
Yes.
So to earn them, you have to know your curriculum. And
but again, you probably had some challenges because you were out in the countryside. Plus, it was a rather unknown form of martial art.
That's the problem, to get this out there and to get it known and to get people to try it because it sounds like. Mad thing to do.
Well, it's interesting. I think it's pretty cool that you have that aspect to your personality, to your resume, if you will. I always, I do stand-up comedy, and after this conversation, I'm going to find out a way to work a routine into, kicking somebody's ass, but you're praying for them after. I'll make it funny. I promise.
Yeah, that's
so you'll get some writing credit in my stand-up routine. So
that's good.
Let me ask you something. Now, this is something that I do with my guests. It's kind of like a deep dive into the personality and into the soul, the heart and soul of my guest. As we wind things up, I want to ask you to fill out a sentence for me. I'm going to say 3 words, and then you fill in the sentence. Just one sentence, okay?
Yep.
John Sylte is...
Whoa.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah. That's
is it time for a commercial break?
Yeah. to be continued.
To be continued.
John Sylte is a lot of things, but first and foremost is a father. That's I think that's a good wrap.
How old are your kids?
17, 15, and 12.
17, 15, and 12.
Yeah. So my oldest son soon he can drive me all over the place. That would be nice.
Yeah. Well, I say this all the time. Snoopy and I, my wife, I call her Snoopy. That's American for Snoopa. That's actually when I first met her. The very first time I met her was in the gym in Chicago, and this Norwegian lady that I was friends with was going to meet up with my wife. My wife was there on vacation to see this other Norwegian lady that I knew. Yeah. So my wife walks in the gym, and Hege, my friend, waves to her and shouts out across the gym, "Hi, Snoopa." And I didn't know Norwegian at the time, so my wife comes in, and Hege introduces me to my wife, and I shake my wife's hand. I said, "Hi, Snoopy. Nice to meet you. My name is John." And I've called her Snoopy ever since. So,
that's a good one.
No, what I was going to say is Snoopy and I, we have our daughter is 16, and our son will soon be 14. And I say to them all the time, you guys are almost at that age where you can start to drive. And then I won't have to drive anymore because you can do it. And I always tell them they're free to do what they want for a job, but I tell them you have to make a lot of money because I'm a big sloppy guy, and when I get old, voksenbleier, adult diapers, are going to be expensive. So
very expensive.
You have to find a good job to take care of me.
You have to get a good education.
You have to get a good education, whatever's going to take to pay for all those adult diapers. So you have three kids,
Yep.
And that is probably the toughest job that you have. Now, you have a lot of responsibility as a reverend. You have your flock, the people that you attend to, but you also have your children. Has there ever been any conflict there, any crash?
No, it's
time conflict to squeeze with your availability?
Of course, you have to, you can't be on all the time, but I think on the countryside, I think it's probably a little bit harder when you are a minister in the big cities and stuff like that. Things happening all the time.
Sure. And you're a crisis counselor as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that. You're a crisis counselor.
Yeah.
So that means you're pretty much on call whenever. You never know when something's going to happen and people will need you.
Yeah. So we have this what you call it, beredskap in the church. Like we
a crisis team.
Yeah, crisis. So I'm the one that delivers the message if somebody dies unexpected or something like that. So that's that's a samarbeid. It's
cooperation.
Yeah, cooperation with the police. So the police call me, and I go out to deliver the message.
Oh, that's a tough job.
That's the worst thing I do. And I also is in a crisis in a group in our community that if something bigger happen, that we are nurses and doctor and me. So we go out to help people if they need some following up with trauma and stuff like that.
What's the biggest occurrence that has happened where you had to be involved in that crisis management team?
It's mostly accidents, when accidents that involving younger people. So that it shakes the whole community, and we open the church so people can meet there and light candles, and it's moments like that you see that church really means something for people, because they come there and they need something that is a little bit bigger than themselves.
Yes.
Need a heaven over their lives. I think.
Well, that's a heavy responsibility to be there to comfort people in moments of grief. I've had to do that when I used to work with Barnavon, and then also back home working as a police officer, and that is an extremely difficult thing to do.
It is.
But that's part of what makes you such a beautiful person, and I mean that. I didn't get into details about, but you know the different cases and different things that have come in the media. You've one thing that really touched me recently was some work you were doing to shine a light on the difficulties an older lady was having with a cabin, a family, a piece of her family's history that she was going to have to possibly sell and get rid of, and it would have affected her quite harshly. Yeah. You get involved in those kind of things, and it's just a testament to the beauty of you as a person, the beauty of you as a Christian leader. And we need more people out there like you, John Sylte. I say that from the bottom of my heart. I've always,
thank you very much.
Always liked talking with you, and I've missed you.
I missed you too.
We're talking about 20 years ago. Yeah. And I'll blame myself. It was me who quit that job and moved up north, so it's my fault.
Your fault, yeah.
It's my fault. I'll blame myself.
But it's never too late, you.
It's never. Well, I'm back. Well, I'm back in Drammen now, but then you moved to Molde, so we're chasing each other.
That is my fault.
Now it's your fault. Now it's back on you.
But I'll be here waiting for you. So yeah.
Well, hey, again, our 25th wedding anniversary. I'm going to call you.
Yeah, you do that.
I'm going to do that. The last thing I'd like to ask, maybe this is a little bit selfish of me, but we can also include anyone who's listening on my radio program or on my podcast or watching this on my YouTube channel. We can include them in the benefits of this as well. And that I would like to ask you, Jon, is there anything you can say? Just put some words out there, a paragraph maybe, something that I and my listeners and viewers can carry with us to get us through the day, maybe carry us even further out than that, a week, a month, something that we can reflect on. Can you help us with that? Because we need that.
Yeah. On the top of my head, I can say that, first of all, I think you are loved. I think you have a heaven over your life. I think even though you don't think about, God or higher being or something, he thinks of you, I think. And I think the most important thing we can do as human beings is try to reflect that higher being is love. So take care of yourself and take care of those you love, and even though the people you don't love, take care of them as well, and try to be as good as you can. And I think God got your back, even though you don't believe in him. I think he believes in you. So yeah.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah.
I love you, John Sylte. That's just beautiful. And that is a message that I can't speak for anyone else, but that's a message that I need. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Listen, everybody who's been watching and listening, I want to thank you for viewing this and for listening. I want to thank you for your continued support. I love you guys. It's amazing the support I'm getting. It's amazing to be able to speak to people like John Sylte. If you guys want more of this, you can find it at my website, www.johnallenpod.com. That's JOHNALANPOD.com. You can check it out on my radio program. You can check it out on a podcast platform. Go to my website. All the information is there. I'm here for you. John Sylte, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you. Nice to be here.